Welcome back to the junk room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, coming back at you with a new video. I'm not really sure about this video. I'm going to do it, see how I like it. If I don't want to upload it, you'll never see it. Sounds kind of like my girlfriend from Canada back in 1984. Anyway, what are we going to talk about today? Well, this is kind of a rambling memory of video stores, video rental stores. Do you remember that? For you younger people out there, you may say, why go to video stores? How boring is that? But video stores were, as the kids say today, the bomb. And I'm talking about video movie rental stores, not Blockbuster. Sure, you can rent your movie at Blockbuster, but that was a whole different experience. You remember going to Blockbuster in the 90s, and you would go in there with your family, and a whole wall of new releases. Let's say there was a new release of Lethal Weapon 5. There would be 30 copies of Lethal Weapon 5. But let's go back before Blockbuster. Before the chain video stores. Back when it was a lot more fun. A lot more wild. It was just something new. Now, growing up in the 70s and 80s, at first, you never got to see a movie that you wanted to see when you wanted to see it, unless you were going to the theater to see it at a special time. Mostly you caught movies on something like HBO. Then it was just whatever came on. If it was something you wanted to see, you were lucky. I remember being sick from school one time, and HBO was showing The Big Red One. I didn't care anything about war movies, didn't care anything about seeing it, but I got excited when I saw coming up next, The Big Red One, starring Mark Hamill and blah, 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 blah. I don't know who else in it. Might have been Lee Marvin. I don't know. But as soon as I saw with Mark Hamill, that was enough to get me hooked. I couldn't wait. Here I was, loosely sick, enough to get a ticket out of school, and The Big Red One was coming on VH1, a movie with Luke Skywalker. Didn't care if it was good or not. I would watch anything with Mark Hamill or Harrison Ford or Carrie Fisher. That's the only reason I watched Somewhere Under the Rainbow movie. Under the Rainbow was the name of it, where a bunch of midgets. Uh-oh, can I say that? Short people, little people. I don't know what they're supposed to be called nowadays, but Chevy Chase and Carrie Fisher. Was a funny movie. Not sure if it holds up today, but back then I loved it. Anyway, what I'm getting at is you couldn't really decide. You couldn't say, hey, I want to see that movie. Click, let's watch it. And then around the early 80s, the mid 80s came local video stores. And I can remember walking to a local video store I had near my house. It would take about 30 to 40 minutes to walk there, and you just couldn't believe it. All these movies at your fingertips. And I'll be honest, most of them I never heard of because, I was going on 11 or 12. And yes, I could ride my bike or walk without parents freaking out and getting all crazy about stuff like they do today. But you would walk all down there and you would walk through. It was always horror movies. They had a lot of horror movies, but you find other movies too. It's the first time I ever saw the movie Southern Comfort. If you've never seen the movie Southern Comfort, check it out. I need to go back and watch that. I loved that back then. I think Peter Coyote was in it and Powers Booth. And anything with Powers Booth in it is going to be great, right? Has he ever done a bad movie? But you would get down there, and first you would normally go to the new release wall. See Tootsie or Revenge of the Nerds or whatever movie was just hitting video back then. But the thing is, this was before the days of Blockbuster when you would see a whole wall. The whole wall was nothing but new releases. Here, first up, new releases was a very loose term. You might see a movie that's been out on VHS for 6 months. And there it is on the new release wall. Ooh, look, they got Psycho in the new release wall. Well, I guess it is a new release after all. It's in color. So those very loose terms with their new release sections. You can see movies sit on that new release shelf for weeks. But the problem was, you wasn't guaranteed to get the movie. And get this, you guys that grow up on Netflix, you're not going to believe this. Sometime if there's a movie you really wanted to watch, let's take for example, me and my sister really wanted to see a movie Like Father, Like Son. I'm not sure why. She must have had a crush on Kirk Cameron. But you would go down there and they would have one, maybe at the most two, if you're lucky. If it was a huge movie, let's say Return of the Jedi, they might have three. But you get down there, they're rented, and guess what? It's out. And the thing is, a lot of these stores, I'm not sure, maybe it's just a local thing, but they would put the movie boxes on the shelf, but behind it would be a case where they put the movie in. So you would see the case, take the case away, look at the back of it and everything, take the movie, put the case back, go and rent your movie. Well, a lot of times you get down there and you say, oh my God, like father, like son, look, he's here. You pick up the case and look behind it. There's nothing behind it. Somebody's rented it out. So what do you do then? Do you just go up there and ask for another copy? No. You have to go up there and say, hey, I want to rent Like Father, Like Son. And you have to put your name down on a waiting list. And the guy, whoever rented it for you, would have 24 hours to watch it and rewind it and bring it back. So you would have to go back home and wait. I don't know what time he rented it, but I know the day I went, it was all rented out. Did he rent it the day before? How many hours does he have left? And you wait there by your phone, and every couple of hours you get tired of waiting, so you just call. Hey, Video Charm, is Like Father, Like Son back in stock yet? He hadn't brought it back yet. Urgh, and you hang up the phone. It was frustrating, but it was great. Like I said, Blockbuster, they would have had a whole wall of Like Father, Like Son. They would have had 25 copies of it. It was a great time. Now I remember another store, besides putting the videos behind the boxes, they would have a little card and a little pouch in front. And if you had the card, you take the card out, take it up to the counter, and they give you the movie. And a lot of times, again, you would see the box, and it would take your brain a second to see that the card was missing, so you get all excited. Oh my God, I can't believe they got She-Devil. It's in stock. Look, everybody, She-Devil. We can rent She-Devil tonight. All the cards gone. So each little local store had their own little system. A box behind the box, or a little card you pull out, and they got them all in the back. It was a good times, and a good thing. And the thing, unlike Blockbuster, now when you went to Blockbuster, everybody said, "Hey, welcome to Blockbuster." The time you walked in, that's about it. That was about the only interaction you got, except when they asked you if you rewind your movie. Like, I don't know why everybody was so hung up on rewind. If you get home and your movie's not rewind, just rewind it. You know, they actually made a machine just for rewinding movies that you hooked up. We sure like to rewind stuff back in the 80s and 90s. But what was I talking about? Oh, the local video store was a lot different than Blockbuster. It wasn't just some 16-year-old that was probably a movie fan and just trying to make a quick $5 an hour. They were movie geeks. It was kind of like comic book stores. I'm glad comic book stores have never went the chain route. You never see, or at least I can't think of, any major comic book retailer chain. Can you? I mean, there might be some chains like Best Buy or something that sold comics, but no comic book store per se. But it was cool because a lot of times you would have a lot of movie files, as they called them, or people that really love movies that would just hang out at the video store. They wouldn't even work there, and they would tell you, hey, rent that, that's a good one. They would know all these obscure movies that you never heard of. They'd be like, 3 o'clock high, you gotta see it. It's one of the best bully movies ever. And it was just great. Oh, here's one you want to watch. You like Linda Hamilton, right? You like the guy from Revenge of the Nerds, right? You have to see Tag the Assassination Game. It's a great movie. And you take it home by their recommendation and watch it and mostly like it. So not only did you have people working there, that would kind of help you what rent. I mean, they would have their own section. You know, they would have Gene's movie section. And they'd have a whole wall, nothing but the employee Gene's pick. And then you have Randall's picks or somebody else's. But it was an amazing time because, like I said before this, you were at whim of maybe you saw something on CBS Sunday Night Movie. Maybe you saw something come up on HBO. And if you didn't have HBO, you hardly never got to see anything. Think about the time before VCRs. Let's go back to the 60s and 70s or maybe 50s. Once you saw a movie and it left theaters, that was it. You were shit out of luck. Unless you knew somebody that had a film projector maybe. But the local video store wasn't just a place to rent movies. It was a place to hang out. It was a place to talk and meet other movie fans before the internet, before you could hang out in chat rooms and online message boards and leave nasty comments on someone's movie review on YouTube. It was a great place. And even if you went there and somebody said, hey, you got to check out Ruckus. You like Dirk Benedict, don't you? We're renting Ruckus. You'll like this movie. It's like a cheap man's First Blood. You take it home, and if you didn't like it, well, first, if you didn't like Ruckus, something's wrong with you. I mean, come on, it's Dirk Benedict's best movie. But let's say somebody rented it and didn't like it. They took it back the next day. They didn't yell at the guy. Hey, why'd you rent me this? Your opinion sucks. No, you say, hey, man, I watched Ruckus. I like Dirk Benedict's acting. Just wasn't my cup of tea. And you give it back to them. They put it back on the shelf. Wasn't so much anger. Why there's so much anger nowadays? Everybody online. angry about something. Junkman, you pronounced that name wrong. I hope you go to hell and you die. Now let's get back to talking about video stores. Don't get me wrong, I did shop at Blockbuster, and then you had a bunch of other Blockbusters. You had Video Warehouse, I think that might have been a local one. Hollywood Video, that's what I'm thinking of. Hollywood Video. You had a couple other Blockbuster ones that was like a chain where they were guaranteed the new releases. And Blockbuster, one thing Blockbuster didn't have, or Hollywood Video didn't have, was that back room with the curtain on it. Anyone that went to local video stores knows about that back room with a curtain. You wasn't allowed to go back there if you were under 18. You could sneak your head around that curtain sometime and get a peek. Now you had to be careful because sometimes you would see your math teacher, Mr. Short, back there renting. That dude has strange taste. But anyway, every once in a while you might get lucky and see a box cover and it's like, oh my God, this is better than any porn you find in the woods. I don't know why porn was in the woods back in the 80s, but people loved to hide porn magazines back in the 80s. And I'm not talking about your Playhouse or your Penthouse. These were smut magazines, the worst of the worst, or best of the best, depending on how you look at it. You know, the one where somebody spread eagle so wide you can see their tonsils. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. That's a whole different video. Why was there so much porn in the woods back in the 80s? Don't understand. But yeah, behind the curtain was movies that you just couldn't see. I remember one time me and my friend Boyd rented a movie, walked down to a place called Shows to Go, rented the movie, and they put in one of these wrong movies in the wrong case. Can you believe it? They rented a X-rated movie to a couple of 12, 13-year-old boys. And we took it home, and I was like this. And of course Boyd was like this. It was the greatest day of my life. The worst day of Boyd's life, I think, because his mom found it. Still don't know what Debbie did to Dallas, but I know who she did. A lot of people. But anyway, so you had those movies that you didn't have at Blockbuster, but that's a whole different story, I guess. And then the local store started renting something else besides video movies. Video games. I could not believe it. I remember the first time I went to one. I remember where it is and everything. I walked in looking at movies, went around the corner. What is this? A Nintendo video cartridge for rent? I have a library of Nintendo games. All these I can rent. Instead of paying $40, $50 for a game like Bill and Ted and get home and finding out after 2 minutes that it's horrible and it sucks, I could just rent them for about $4 or $5 and play them for 24 hours. Save myself a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of heartache. It was great. So I went from walking to the video store or riding my bike to the video store to rent a movie. Now I was getting games. Nintendo games. Now, I don't know. Something happened because I love Nintendo games. But I bought that mini classic, hacked it, put all the like 600 games on it. Besides the Mario games and maybe 3 or 4 other games. Man, there's a lot of boring games on that system. At least they're boring now. I even tried to play Castlevania because I love Castlevania. Now I play it for about 10 minutes and I'm like, this is horrible. I'm sick of this. Video games just don't hold up, do they? That's just Mario. I could play some Mario all night. I love me some Mario. But they started renting video games. It was a great time, like I said. I remember I rented Rampage, played it all night. I remember renting Where's Waldo. I don't know why I rented it. I mean, I had to be a 13 or 14 renting Where's Waldo. It was horrible. You couldn't even find Waldo if you tried. I mean, that's the point of the game, but it was horrible. I mean, look at this. How can you find anything like that? How can you find Waldo? So not only did you have this great time of getting movies you thought you would never see again or you never thought you'd see when you wanted to, you also had video games. Now, I said earlier they had a lot of horror games. I don't know why horror movies were always so big on VHS. I guess they were so cheap to make, but I would rent one every now and then. I'm not a horror movie guy. I didn't really like horror movies, but you could always get something there. So you would rent a horror movie if you had like a friend sleeping over. And they were always the cheesiest, cheap ones. I remember one we rent called I Spit on Your Grave. Now I think they did a remake of this, but we watched originals like 78, 79. It was horrible. But the worst one, and I don't even know the name of it. Some of you guys might know it out there, but I don't know what it was. It was a slasher movie, I guess, but the bad guy, the Jason of the movie, had a bad pig mask. Like a pig. Like a porky pig. And I think he killed college girls. Something about these horror movies back then, they loved to kill college girls. Not just kill college girls. They loved to kill nude college girls. Well, they didn't like just kill nude college girls. They liked to kill nude college girls with big boobs. You don't see nudity much nowadays in movies, do you? Remember I went to see Airplane 2, and it's the first time I ever saw boobies, at least on a big screen like that. I don't think I ever saw boobies before that either. But anyway, again, I don't know what this video is. I just kind of want to get your thoughts on video stores. Again, the chain ones are okay, but they just took some of the fun out of it. So this is more of a salute to those independent stores that sadly Blockbuster killed. But then Netflix came along and killed Blockbuster. How's it feel, Blockbuster? You had your chance to buy Netflix and you laughed at them. But like I said, I don't really know if this video is going to be entertaining or not. It's not really giving you new information, not really telling you anything. I don't know. It just hit me earlier about video game. It just hit me about video stores, and then I kind of miss them. And I miss that time period where you could just walk up to a store and browse around and watch the movies you've never seen before. And that's one. I love Netflix and Hulu and Apple Plus, but I really don't find myself just watching stuff I never heard of. One thing like Netflix, it seems like it's a pain in the ass to even find anything if you don't know to search for, if you're just going through. There's no real good just searching for something and finding it. Oh well, that's a look, or that's a memory of video game stores. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And until the next video, thumb up this one, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.